DC Comics has a lot to answer for. Umpteen hundred Batman movies, and only one of them that was any good. Putting Supergirl in a sensible pantsuit in that final season. And, of course, Martha. Jesus Christ, Martha. But perhaps nothing is more damning than that first epic maxi-series, Crisis on Infinite Earths. Responding to Marvel's Secret Wars a year earlier, Crisis was a world-shattering, literally, event that took the complex and troubled DC multiverse and created a singular Earth for all its heroes to live on. Unfortunately, combining all those multiple Earths created a truly Byzantine timeline. But no worries, they'd solved that problem in 0 Hour, Crisis in Time, which gave us a singular, simplified timeline. Who gives a shit what beloved characters or storylines were no longer canon, right? As long as things made sense. Well, kids, things didn't make sense, because they apparently needed to fix things again with an identity crisis, and then an infinite crisis, and a final crisis, which killed Batman. Yeah, right. And given that it was written by Grant Morrison, made about as much sense as Thomas Pynchon or the works of Alfred Jarry. See how I tried to work a little culture in there? Pretty slick, huh? What? Oh, okay. The problem is that the original Crisis, and to be fair, Secret Wars, did so well it began a yearly event necessity. Not just for DC, but for their counterparts over at Marvel. Millennium, Civil War, Armageddon, Siege, Death Metal, Dark Crisis. Everything was an opportunity to wipe the slate clean and start over with fresh ideas and fresh stories. Thing is, that first Crisis was penned by Marv Wolfman and drawn by George Perez, a dynamic duo who could do no wrong in the early 80s comic scene. It remained the standard by which most event comics get measured, and few can stand up to it. Honestly, how could they? It'd be like the band that had to go on after the Rolling Stones left the stage. Doesn't matter how good you are, you're going to be terrible in comparison. Well, unless we're talking about mid-70s Stones. I mean, you know, that was a questionable era for those guys, and what? Oh, okay. And some of these epic maxi series really were terrible, weren't they? It goes back to the old Jurassic Park thing of just because you can do something, it doesn't mean you always should. And it all started with Crisis. Point your finger squarely at DC, folks. Not that the book doesn't have merit. It was published long before there was this thing called an internet or a viable comic fanboy network. So when you walked into the store to pick up your weekly books, often you were caught completely off guard. So imagine seeing Crisis number 7 with Supergirl dead on the cover. Pretty scary, huh? And they really did kill her. No way they'd do something that grim and serious again in the series, except they did, killing Barry Allen, a.k.a. The Flash, in the very next issue. Crazy, huh? Oh, don't worry, they're both back. Nobody dies in comics forever. Crisis on Infinite Earths is a book that got made. And it caused a whole mess of trouble for continuity nerds and fanboys across the globe. Why, if this madness kept up, they'd probably stop buying mainstream books and go buy an indie comic and... Oh, God! I can't believe I just said that. Oh my! Oh, Lord. Oh, that's a good one.
Fix my on the top of my head, my actual head.
Oh, your head.
My head.
My head.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's try to get through this one.
I think we're still rolling. Yep. Whatever. And here we go in 3, 2,